Let's talk about dying in the most ridiculous way possible. Final Destination movies go like this. The movie starts with an inciting incident, some event that gets a lot of different people in the same place at the same time. Disaster strikes and everything goes wrong. Someone among these people conveniently has a vision which shows them in great detail what is about to unfold, and they go crazy! Usually this person and like 5 other misfits inadvertently escape moments before the disaster happens. Phew! But, much like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, fate is a real thing in this universe, and all of those people were fated to die. One by one, they all experienced their fated end in the most ridiculous and outlandish ways possible. And this is why people watch this. I love these stupid movies. Like, I didn't watch them for years because I was like, oh, that seems too dumb a horror movie for me. I like serious horror movies like Killer Clowns from Outer Space. But then I got really drunk and I watched all 5 of them in the space of a week, and I was addicted. Like, I couldn't stop watching these dumb movies because I was so hooked on the formula. At every death I saw, each one more ridiculous than the last, I couldn't help but think, what if this happened to me? Like, which one of these insane deaths would be the most preferable? But before I do that, I'm going to run through all of them real quickly for you. The first movie is often considered the best of the series. The concept is fresh, and the consequences of not only the inciting incident, but also the following deaths is probably at its strongest here. Alex is the guy who has the vision, and he is driven bananas by this whole fated to die situation. That's what these films need more of, someone who becomes absolutely freakish as a result of the insanity. It feels like some of the future protagonists don't really feel the gravity of the situation. They don't really mind that much. Anyway, the class of Alex's school get on a plane because they're going to France for a school trip. Literally seconds after taking off, the plane starts shaking until it comes apart and explodes in midair, killing everyone on board in a fiery catastrophe. This is everyone's worst nightmare. If you've been on a plane, you have thought about this happening. Even if you don't believe that it's going to happen, the thought still enters your mind. Anyway, this death is pretty standard, to be honest. Like, the plane just sort of falls apart and blows up. I know that is a pretty extraordinary thing to happen in our reality, but in the Final Destination world, this is pretty tame. Anyway, Alex has his vision and starts a commotion, which causes him and a few others to be ushered out by the teachers. Naturally, they then watch the crash unfold from the terminal. That was a close one. This is the first real kill of the whole series. While shaving himself, despite having no beard whatsoever and clearly not knowing how to use a straight razor, this guy Todd slips on a puddle that formed out of his toilet water. He falls into his bathtub, where the light switch cord wraps around his neck, proper wacky, choking him to death after some struggling. I do love how straightforward this one is, with just a hint of wackiness to it. Like, the slip is so funny, and the way the cord loop-de-loops around his neck, it always cracks me up. It's played pretty straight, but honestly, if anyone knew this was how I died, I would be pretty embarrassed. I mean, slipping on toilet water, you would never live that one down. This one is pretty by the books. Alex and the token bully Carter are having an argument about the whole death catching up with them situation. Terry, the bully's girlfriend, is trying to talk some sense into him, and out of nowhere, she's flattened by a bus. Not much to say about this one. This could happen to any of us. And I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, at least there's no prolonged suffering. It's pretty immediate. This one is hilarious. The teacher, who was meant to be on the flight but stayed off to manage the rowdy students, is mentally scarred, so much so that she has to move out of the area just to cope with it. Unfortunately, this drunk has been sipping on vodka from a broken cup, which has been leaving a trail all over the house. She spills vodka on her desktop PC, which causes the thing to explode, and a shard of the screen gets in her throat. She is losing a lot of blood, and she frantically walks over to the kitchen, but the sparks from the computer set the trail of vodka alight. Her kettle erupts in flames, and then the whole bottle of vodka explodes. No idea how realistic the science is there, but it's really funny. In a last-ditch effort, the teacher tries to grab a dishcloth from the counter, I guess to hold her wound, and wouldn't you know it, she accidentally pulls down all of her kitchen knives, and one of them stabs her directly in the middle. Alex tries to save her, but the oven explodes and knocks a chair over, which rams the knife further into her stomach. She is dead. This is a perfect Final Destination death. That being said, I would hate for this to happen to me. All the things that happen are so painful and drawn out. It is really awful. Now, the bully is going a little bit crazy and drives his car onto train tracks in order to prove that he's awesome and he's not gonna die. He gets a bit in over his head and is almost run over by a train, but at the last second, Alex manages to save him. Sean William Scott, yeah, you know this movie came out in 2000, gets really emotional and starts shouting about how he's not gonna die next. And within seconds, a bit of debris, like a piece of sharp sheet metal, flings up from the tracks and slices his head clean off. It is, it's hilarious. I wouldn't mind this one because even though it's kind of embarrassing, I think that's more because of who it happens to. If this happened to me, people would probably think it's pretty badass. Once again, it seems to be pretty instantaneous too, so it wouldn't result in much suffering or pain, except for the eternal pain of going out like a geek. Once again though, not me. At the end of the movie, the survivors go to France. What? This is literally the last thing I would do in your situation. Anyway, Alex starts going a little crazy again and is like, we're not out of the woods just yet. And wouldn't you know it, a bus almost hits him. The bus then knocks a lamppost into the air, which hits a giant sign. The sign swings down and it almost kills Alex, who is saved at the last second by his bully-turned-friend. The sign then swings back down and kills the bully immediately. See, I love the chain of events leading up to this one. It's very over the top, very comedic. I think the way the sign swings is very satisfying. It just feels a bit silly, and I do feel like then my death would constantly be tied to whatever that sign was advertising. I'm pretty sure it's like a restaurant sign in the movie. I don't want to be a part of this restaurant's history just because I was swatted by that swinging sign. I want my death to be my own. The highway pileup, probably my favorite inciting incident of the whole series. Kimberly is heading to the beach for spring break, driving down the highway with her friends. There is so much illegal shit going down on this highway. People are drinking, doing coke, smoking, talking on the phone. It's almost like something bad is gonna happen. Oh look, a huge truck that's transporting giant logs. Yep, the logs come undone and absolutely run roughshod on everybody driving that day. Some people get straight up crushed, some just crash their car, and some get brutalized by their own motorbikes. It's awesome. Almost as awesome as the Emmerdale pileup. Almost. Anyway, Kimberly sees this happen and prevents a couple people from entering the highway and perishing. This one is so elaborate. This guy gets home and he's recently won the lottery, so he's got an expensive watch, tons of jewelry. He's feeling pretty good. He needs to use the stovetop, but before that he throws some spaghetti that was in the pan outside of his window and onto the street. Anyway, he's going to do some cooking and reheat some leftover noodles, but he doesn't notice a fridge magnet fall into the noodle box, and he still puts it in the microwave. Anyway, he leaves the stovetop unattended to go put on his new watch and jewelry, but he drops the ring down the sink. He puts his whole fist in there just to try and get it, and somehow it becomes stuck. The microwave explodes. And the frying pan bursts into flames, eventually engulfing the entire apartment in a great ball of fire. Just at the last second though, he manages to get his hand out and escape the flat. He has to descend a ladder to the street below. The ladder doesn't quite go all the way down, so he does have to take a leap of faith, but he lands safely. You know what, this was pretty hairy, but I'm glad he escaped. Anyway, he slips on his spaghetti and the ladder kills him. This is the first proper fake-out kill of the series, and do trust me, this is going to become more commonplace than regular kills. A teenager and his mum are going to the dentist, and in this dentist, there is so many things that you think will kill him. But it doesn't. Anyway, after the two leave the dentist, this teenager, who I guess is just so high on Novocaine or something, he sees a few birds and he goes to jump at them. Unfortunately, a construction worker is operating a crane that's holding a flat sheet of glass, which must weigh like 10 times your average pane of glass. The pigeons fly in front of the construction worker, who accidentally knocks a lever, dropping the glass on the kid, who splats like a roach under the glass. This is probably my favorite kill, maybe in the whole series. Like, it is the perfect marriage of stupid, absurd, shocking, it's not too drawn out, and the effect looks great. Would I be alright with this happening to me? I don't know, it is kinda ridiculous. At least it'll be over quick. Two of the survivors from the highway crash, one of them being the mother of the kid who just got crushed, they get into an elevator together. And of course, there's a creepy guy in there holding a basket that's full of hooks and prosthetic limbs. You just wouldn't get in, would you? Anyway, this woman gets a call from the other survivors who try to warn her of her imminent death, but she drops her phone when it rings. She bends down to pick it up, and her plaque gets caught in one of the hooks. There's a big commotion, lots of screaming, no one knows what's going on. Then she tries to get out of the elevator, still hooked to one of the prosthetic limbs, and the door gets slammed shut on her head. The elevator starts going up, and more people try to help to get her free. There's all sorts of commotion, and after a real struggle, her head just comes clean off. This one is horrible, but it is everything I love about these stupid movies. Once her hair becomes stuck, just talk to the man. Slowly get yourself unhooked. Everyone moves on with their day. Needless to say, I would hate for this to happen to me. So the gang are driving to a hospital, and wouldn't you know it, they crash their SUV. A bunch of giant PVC pipes crash through all the windows, but thankfully no one dies. Phew! Unfortunately, the driver is lodged in place by a big wooden trunk, so she needs a rescue worker to help get her out. The rescue workers are using this big hydraulic equipment, which unfortunately sets off her airbag, and just like that, she's impaled on one of the tubes. This one is funny. It's really awful too, because the worker who does this must feel terrible. Some deaths are just caused by a mystical force, usually evil water, I find, but a lot of the deaths in the second movie are caused by human-made accidents. You know, if these films were slightly better, they would probably examine the psyches and unpack the trauma of these characters caught in the horrific death game. But alas. The next death is immediately after the tube incident. A news truck pulled up earlier and a rock busted its underside, causing oil to leak everywhere. The lady who got impaled was smoking a cigarette before she got, you know. Although, it actually looks more like a cigarillo. The cigarillo rolls down into the path of the oil, which blows up the news van. This causes a barbed wire fence, like two wooden posts connected by two horizontal lines of barbed wire, to get launched across this field. And wouldn't you know it, it slices one of the guys into 3 clean pieces. This is one that is almost too ridiculous. It's creative, I will give it that, but oh my god, the physics in this one are almost too crazy. Not something I would be comfortable having as my own death personally, unless they like preserved my chunks in like glass boxes, you know, like an art exhibit. You know, now that I've said that, I'm gonna write it into my will. This one sucks. I mean, the hospital room just blows up, you know? It feels like they just needed to get rid of these side characters before the finale. The two survivors are at a barbecue when they think it's all over. They're just having fun. Come on, grab a hot dog, get a burger. But then they learn that someone who was meant to die actually was saved during the SUV crash, and they ominously look over to the barbecue. Almost immediately, the kid who's manning the grill fucking explodes, and his limbs scatter all over the yummy food. Look, let's get one thing straight. I love grilling. You know, I love being on the grill, so to die doing what I love, you know, on a sunny day, that's peak. I wouldn't mind this one at all. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who is way too good for this movie, is at the fun fair with people from her school to celebrate graduation. Everybody wants to go on the roller coaster. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is already hating this idea, but then she has a horrible premonition when someone knocks the camera onto the already faulty tracks, and it causes the whole roller coaster to derail. The crash kills everyone in ridiculous ways, mostly flying out of the carriages, some get impaled on loose tracks and stuff. It's a hoot. Everybody who doesn't like roller coasters feels very vindicated by this one, and people who do like roller coasters are usually very angry because none of the stuff that happens in the crash is even remotely realistic. Personally, if I was at peace with my death already, if like I knew I was going to die before I got on the roller coaster, I wouldn't really mind this one. No one can deny that it would be pretty fun. However, if I didn't know, I'm not sure I would appreciate it. The tanning beds, Jesus Christ, this is a really awful way to go. Two best friends who survived the roller coaster crash are getting a tan because it's 2006. They leave a slush puppy on top of a creaky shelf as they go in for their tan. You know how this one's gonna go. For some reason, these girls love the music of the Ohio Players. That's kind of awesome, they're just like me. Unfortunately, the slush puppy melts so much that it drips into the heat regulator on the tanning beds, causing them to go way over their recommended heat. The girls try to break free, but the broken shelf falls down, and it somehow lodges perfectly in between the two tanning beds so that neither of them can get out. Long story short, they burn. When I say horrific, this doesn't even cut it. So uncomfortable to watch. Like, almost too much for me. Mary Elizabeth Winstead and her mate Kevin are at the drive-thru because they think that this guy, Frankie, is gonna die next. A stupid truck backs into the side of their car, so they're trapped from the back and the sides, and the guy in front isn't gonna move because he's getting his orders still. Oh no! A truck has fallen down a hill behind them! This is only gonna end badly. The people behind them reverse just in the nick of time, and just when you think that they'll get rammed, the two survivors survive. Thank God for that. Anyway, the van engine flies out of the hood and it fucking kills the guy in front of them. His head gets all chopped up by the engine. It is not fun. This is just really embarrassing. I mean, not just because it's such an unceremonious way to go, because he has no idea it was going to happen, but also imagine the sight of your death being a fast food drive-thru. People will think you're a slob. This is why you should never go to a gym that has giant swords hanging from the ceiling, or a life-size stuffed bear. Neither of these things should be anywhere near a gym. This guy is up next to die, who in real life has the greatest name I've ever heard, Texas Battle. His first name is Texas. His surname is Battle. Texas Battle. Anyway, the two survivors are like, hey Texas Battle, you're gonna die next, so we need to try and make sure that doesn't happen. And this guy takes it really personally, so in some sort of dominance display, he furiously starts working out as hard as he can. The swords hanging above him are shaking like crazy. All the other guys in the gym are working out to a ridiculous extent. One of them lifts his dumbbells up so fast that he knocks one of the claws out of that stuffed bear, which hits another guy in the eye, who drops his barbell. The impact of the barbell dropping is enough to make the swords fall down, but they don't hit our man. They just cut some of the cords on his weight machine. Phew! As a celebration, he does one more rep on the machine and the weights crush his skull. This is easily one of the stupidest kills, because he does this to himself. He survived the initial incident and then he was just so proud of it that he had to do one more rep. He did this to himself, what can I say? Watch out everybody, there's a runaway forklift! 4 of the survivors are at a hardware store, where 2 of them, Ian and Erin, are employees. Because of some sloppy forklift maneuvering, a shelf gets knocked over unbeknownst to everyone, and this causes objects to fall onto another forklift so perfectly that it starts driving all on its own. It drives around and eventually starts lifting a panel that's keeping a bunch of sharp pointed fence panels at bay. The 4 survivors are having a conversation about death, which is pretty much most of the dialogue in all of these movies. But Mary Elizabeth Winstead notices just in time, and as the fence panels fall over, she knocks Ian out of the way, saving his life. You know how this works though. So much stuff ends up falling from the shelves, including a plank of wood, which pops a bag full of sawdust or something. Anyway, this pop makes the girl Erin jump back, and her head goes right into the back of a nail gun, which shoots her repeatedly in the head. I'm not sure if I've explained this one well enough. Please do go and watch it for yourself. And make sure to snarkily comment, this would never happen to me. Anyway, this would never happen to me. I don't even work at a hardware store. Really though, is there anything more humiliating than dying on the job? Forced to be a part of a system you fundamentally disagree with for minimal pay and little respect, only to be brutally murdered wearing that uniform which brings you so much shame. It's the Tricentennial Fair, the perfect place to have fun. Anyway, Mary Elizabeth Winstead's sister is the next person due to be killed. When they try and stop her, a runaway horse that's still tied to its post runs into them, and though it doesn't hit her, the rope conveniently wraps around her neck, and this horse drags her around the whole fair. She actually doesn't perish though, and the horse just leaves. I'm getting a bit sick of these fake out deaths. Like, as soon as this started, I just knew this wouldn't be the way she'd go. Anyway, her best friend is impaled by a flagpole. This one is so stupid. The horse rope girl stole all of your thunder and hype, and you just die immediately by a flagpole? Weak. I would hate for this to be me. Amongst all the commotion, Ian, the hardware store guy, shows up and is like, "You, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, you killed my girlfriend, so now I'm gonna kill you." Funnily enough though, a bunch of fireworks are set off, which directly strikes a cherry picker, which flattens Ian from above. Flattened by a cherry picker, it's good. Like, it's not bad, but it's, you know, it reminds me a bit too much of the Flattened by Glass kid, and it's just not as good as that one. The last one is really not too wacky at all. The survivors by chance meet again on a subway train, and wouldn't you know it, the thing derails and crashes in horrific fashion. The movie has been particularly brutal, and this does seem a bit tame in comparison. The most horrifying thing about this death is that it's followed by the end credits, which feature one of the worst covers I've ever heard in my life. It's Tommy Lee doing a cover of Love Train by the OJs, one of the greatest songs of all time, truly being shat upon with no remorse. As someone who gets the tube often, this death would really piss me off. Okay, now that we know what's happened, let's rank these deaths. Let's see which one is the most preferable. Have I got just one listed as C? Oh shit, hang on. There we go, it's better. So yeah, we're gonna rank, so I'm just gonna go through all of them and just see which ones, you know, where they line up on the scale. Obviously, I will be doing this for all the movies, so once I do 4, 5, and 6, I'll include them as well. But for now, just the first 3 movies. Let's see where we're at. So we'll start naturally. At the beginning. This is the plane crash. I am pretty indifferent to this one. It would be chaotic. It wouldn't particularly be fun. I'm not trying to say that, but there are worse ways to go. Definitely out of these ways of dying, this is definitely one of the least gruesome and personal. I mean, it's a lot of people going at once. So we're all pretty much in the same boat, you know. We're just gonna fall out. We're gonna burn, you know. So for the moment, I'll put this into indifferent. Be the shower kill, which is the first one. I would not like this one at all. Mostly because it's like a very prolonged suffering. That's the main thing that you'll notice with the ones I don't want to do, because they'll keep you in pain for a long time. The shower one, I think there's probably worse ways to go. Like, it's probably not actually the worst, but because of how long you're being choked for, and especially with how ridiculous it is, like, you're gonna... I know in the movie they sort of chalk it up to a suicide, because, you know, that seems most likely from him being hung by the shower. But in reality, if anyone knew that was how I died, slipping on the toilet water, and then the thing looping around, oh, that would be very embarrassing. I'm gonna put that one in would mind. Next one would be, what would be the next one? Oh, the bus. The bus would be the next one, when his Carter's girlfriend gets rammed down. The bus. Oh, that's gotta be wouldn't mind, because I mean, if would it be preferable? Because, like, you know, that's there's no glory in going down by a bus. There's no like like, even though you can't take issue with it, because it's over so quick, so it's not really you're not gonna suffer. But also, there's no glory in it. Like, there's no... If I had the option, it's probably one I'd think of first. You know, just because it's hopefully over very quick. But yeah, the bus, that I wouldn't mind. Next one's the teacher in the kitchen. This one, I think this is going to be the first that I absolutely object to. This would be terrible, because she goes through so much grief in this short period of time. She gets the desktop monitor, blows up in front of her, goes in her throat. That alone is terrible. I hate anything like throat related. But then she's like walking across, she slips on her own blood, which again is just embarrassing. What does she do? The vodka like blows up. And then she's bleeding everywhere. She tries to get the knives down in her stomach, and it gets rammed in by the chair. Everything about it is terrible, and I think that's one I absolutely object to. That one is definitely going at the very bottom. Is there another kill? Yeah, there's the oh yeah, so I didn't know what picture to do because there's already a train death on here, and he's not even killed by the train, he's killed by like a piece of metal. But I couldn't find an appropriate image, so I just put in it I just put a picture of Sean William Scott there, just because I like his face. So the actual like kill is something that I wouldn't mind, you know. It seems like it's pretty quickly over with, but if I died in the same way as him, where it's just like, I'm not gonna die, and then he immediately gets sliced like in half by a piece of sheet metal, I think I would mind. Let's just say I die in the same way, but I'm not whining about it. Pretty indifferent to this one. I'd probably want it less than the plane crash. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there for now. My thoughts may change. The next kill is it's the last one of the first movie. It's the big sign. I feel like, would it really kill you? Yeah, of course it would. Oh my god, what am I saying? Yeah, so the sign would definitely kill you. I'd say that the swatting motion is kind of fun. Like, maybe it'll be fun to be like, I can't speak for anybody there, and I really don't want to come off as insensitive for anyone who has been swatted by a sign, but can you just imagine like the whoosh, like that would, whoosh. I'm gonna put that in wouldn't mind. So that's it for the first movie. The next one is the it's a doozy. It's the pile up from the second movie, notably caused by the logs. This is all in all an unsavory way to go. I really wouldn't be happy about this happening to me. Every one of the kills in this looks exceedingly painful. So I don't know if I'd want to be anywhere near that. Like like the one where it just goes through his front windscreen and comes out the other end. Although it's like immediate, that would just be so fucking bad. The guy who gets sliced by his motorbike, this is why the inciting incidents can get a bit confusing, because there is so many ways that they're killed, but just sort of, we're going for an average here. And yeah, I think the logs would be a really bad way to go. Let's say I would definitely mind the logs. I definitely wouldn't want that to happen to me. But as I say, it's usually quite immediate, the killing. So hopefully it wouldn't be too much suffering. Next kill is so it's the kitchen fire, you know, hand caught in the drain thing, where he's then finished off by the ladder. So, I mean, let's say all of that happens to me. It's pretty embarrassing, especially after a lottery win, you know. But the ladder, I guess it'll go through his brain, so it'll probably kill pretty immediately. But yeah, it does not seem fun at all. I hate ice stuff. This one, I would definitely mind that one. Probably more than the logs. Or no, probably would dislike it more than the logs. Yeah, I think the next one is the sheet of glass after the dentist. So just a reminder, he is flattened. He is just like, so it would be brutal. But once again, I think it looks pretty awesome. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind personally. Like probably out of all of them, seems like the most immediate death. Like he literally, it's like a second. Once again, this must be the heaviest sheet of glass ever created, because I don't think there's any way that it could crush someone that easy. Like he folds down. It's so, you know, it's very unrealistic. But I'm going off of the rules that they've set here. So I would die as he did in the movie. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind at all. Especially if someone saw it and caught it on video, because that video would be, I mean, come on, that would be iconic. That would be amazing to watch, and I wouldn't mind if people watched it back. I know I wouldn't really have a say in it, but I wouldn't mind people sort of analysing that video. I probably would like it more just because of for visual flair. I'd probably but the sign would be fun. If you get like whoo, that would be fun. I'm gonna put that at the top actually. Once again, physics are sort of iffy on this one, but the sheet of glass, that's definitely one of my favourites. Am I gonna bump the sign up to preferable? Because the thing is, if I do go yeah, I'm gonna bump it up to preferable. I really didn't think it would be that high when I first saw it, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, that would be kind of fun. Sorry. What is next? What's next? Is it the elevator? Okay. Elevator is an awful one. Once again, lots of prolonged suffering with that one. The general, like, there's so much going wrong with that one. There's so much hysteria and shouting. And, like, she's caught. I mean, that alone would hurt. Like, having your hair caught on the hook. To then be, like, you have your head in the elevator and then be... Oh, it's awful. That is... That's another one that's going at dead bottom. I don't know if it's worse than the kitchen one, just because I think there's a lot more, you know, when she's got the knife in her and she's got the thing in her throat. I think I'd still wouldn't want that more than the elevator, but the elevator really can't be understated how bad the elevator is. Like, I really want nothing to do with that. And it's just how many people are coming to help. It would just be a nightmare. Well, one, I'd hate for this to happen because it's like a man-made accident. Like, it's the industrial equipment that the worker's using. That's what sends her, like, the bag into the tube. That being said, it would be pretty immediate. Once again, did I put the shower to wouldn't mind or would mind? Shower should be at the bottom of that. The tubes should be... I'm pretty indifferent to the tubes. Like, I wouldn't like it, but it wouldn't be like... I'm not raving about how... Like, I wouldn't really be ecstatic about people saying, oh yeah, Max got crushed by a... Max got a tube through the head. I don't know. I don't know, really. Once again, physics are questionable with the barbed wire fence. But let's just say it does happen like how it's depicted in the movie. I would not like that. I would not like that to happen to me. He seems like pretty conscious while he's in 3 chunks. Like, his eyes are open. He looks alert. I would sort of want to know how it feels like. Like, I wouldn't want to live my whole life without, you know, knowing what it's like to be chunks. I'm gonna put that as wouldn't mind at the very bottom, because I still think of being exceedingly painful. But I wouldn't mind knowing what it's like to be chunks. It would probably be awful, but I'd die pretty quickly after too. You know, I wouldn't mind. Oh, the hospital explosion. It would be like the lamest way to go, but it would probably not be too painful. I think. I don't know. I'll put it in indifferent. That one is truly like I feel no ways about it. In the context of the movie, it's such a lame way to go out, but I don't, you know, in real life, you know, I don't exactly want that to happen, but I wouldn't be in too much pain, I guess, unless I'm like burning. Look, that's why it's going at the bottom of this. That's why it's going at the bottom of indifferent, because I still wouldn't really want it to happen, but. You know, comparatively. Oh, the barbecue. Oh, this is that's peak right there. That's peak. Better than the sign. You don't go flying. You don't go woo. So I don't think I really care too much to replace the sign as the number 1. But barbecue, you know, like I said, grilling. I love to grill. He seems to just explode into pieces immediately, so I don't think there's really any suffering. I know you'd obviously suffer burns and such, but it seems like he's gone as soon as the barbecue explodes, so it would ruin everyone's day. Like, you know, I'd hate to ruin everyone's day. That's the thing. I think that's why I wouldn't put it at number 1, because it's just I'm ruining what should be a good time with my explosion. Next movie, The Final Destination 3, and this one is another one that I think is preferable, the roller coaster. And no, I definitely wouldn't mind it. I've explained my reasoning for that, because it would just be, if I knew, I think it would be very fun. It's still a bit scary though. It's still quite scary. I'll put it at the top of wouldn't mind. Just because, actually, would I want it? It still is quite terrifying though. Maybe above the barbed wire fence. Because the way I'm looking at this is like, I'm still riding a roller coaster, which is still a very fun thing to do. It just so happens that I'm gonna get flung off. Because, you know, as you can see, I'm clearly a fan of the flinging. I think I've got the bus too high, if I'm honest. It's getting very tricky. I will do some shuffling around once I've solidified like the whole list, so do not worry, this is not going to be permanent. Next one is the tanning beds. I think, you know, this is I don't need to explain this one. This is dead bottom. Just the worst way you could possibly think of going. Like, it's terrible. Complete suffering. You're trapped. Negligence. You know, and it's just like being known for dying in a tanning bed is just, it's not how I want to be remembered, really. Okay, the guy in the drive-thru gets his head cut off with the car engine. I would mind. I would mind. One for the sheer pain of being ripped open by a car engine. The other, as I mentioned, dying in a drive-thru. I mean, what are they gonna think? You know, the priest will be like, "We'll remember them as a loving. They will be remembered." For doing what they love most, eating fries like a fat ass. Like, it's just gonna be so embarrassing. Like, so embarrassing. Everyone will think I'm, you know, some sort of slob. They'll bury me with onion rings and a large Coke. You know, they'll make fun of me. So yeah, and the sheer pain of it would be terrible. Wouldn't want that. It's quite a disgusting death that I always do forget about. As you can see, the gym. This one obviously is brought onto the character by stupidity alone, so it's not like it would sort of have to happen a bit differently. I don't think I'd do that victory rep. That would be a bit excessive. But let's say it does happen to me and my head's crushed. It happens pretty quickly. It would still be painful. I would mind it. Next one is the nail gun in the hardware store. This is really bad. I would absolutely hate this one. Is it worse than the elevator? Oh, this one's actually really bad. I didn't really factor in how awful this one would be. Yeah, I'll put it just above the tanning beds for now. Does she die quick? Like, is she conscious for like more than a minute? Because that's what's really keeping the kitchen one this high, or this low rather, because she's real conscious for it. You know, for quite a bit of time. I'll put the nail gun at the top, but that is subject to change. Flagpole. It's over pretty quickly. I'm pretty indifferent to it. I wouldn't want to die in a flagpole. Let's just put it there. I'm not really thinking too hard about that one. It depends. I guess it depends what flag it is. If it was like an awesome flag, you know, I wouldn't mind. Can you imagine? Like, because if it's a lame flag that I don't like, if it's a lame flag that I don't want to be associated with, I'm not going to give any examples, but let it be known that there are some flags that I wouldn't want to be associated with. But if it was like a cool flag, oh, that would be kind of cool actually. I'll put this above the hospital for sure. Maybe above the tubes. I'll leave it there for now. I don't want to push it too far. Flatten by Cherry Picker. Like I said, it's just sort of a worse version of the glass flattening. But I'm not like too worried about it. I'd probably put it above the sheet metal flying through the head. And finally, we've got the train crash. Like I said, this is something I think about happening in real life often. I really wouldn't want it to happen. I'd probably want it like... Would I really want it less than the plane crash? Would I really want the plane crash to happen to me at all? Like, I'll put the train in different for now. And then what I'll do once I get to the next movies, I'll have a big sort out and I'll organize everything so it's a bit more ordered. But this is what we're looking at for the moment. I feel alright with these categories. Preferable, wouldn't mind. Indifferent, would mind. Absolutely not. I expected the tanning bed to be dead bottom. I did not expect the sign to be at the top of this. That's honestly amazing. Like, I did not expect that to happen. But the more I thought about the flinging, the woo, the more I was into it. Anyway, come back next time for the complete final tier list.